Hi, everyone. My name is Ruby Powers. Today, we're going to talk about the stay of deportation, safeguarding your future, embracing a brighter tomorrow. I'm a board-certified immigration attorney in Houston, Texas. With the Powers Law Group, we're a full-service immigration law practice with a global reach. We help individuals with our family-based, removal, immigration court, employment-based, investment-based immigration, humanitarian asylum, complex citizenship cases, federal litigation, including mandamus, you name it. So today we're going to be talking about the stay of deportation. And so you can have an effect of a stay, which is like a pause of your deportation when you do a few things. And what we're predominantly going to focus on is the stay of deportation form with ICE. And so we'll go ahead and cover that. But generally, I'll just say that you don't want to have to do this. This is mostly if you sort of as desperation of last resort. In all cases, I would suggest to try to have done a Freedom of Information Act request, have reviewed your file, have more time to fight the case, to be able to prevent sort of the crisis mode of doing a stay. We've seen more stays of deportations recently where individuals had a prior deportation order and they were doing what they call the OSUP, or they were checking in, and then they were told that they had to be prepared for their final deportation. We've also seen people who were maybe caught at the border or maybe had a certain criminal record, and then that brought to light their immigration court record. So, you need to be able to, usually you have to be filing for something to have a stay. And I look at a stay as like a pause, like they're not going to invoke the deportation. It's either it's happening, it could happen for a period of time, or it doesn't happen. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the deportation order goes away. It doesn't prevent the eventual deportation. It delays it or gives some time to file for an appeal or for some other form of relief. So it's not the same thing as cancellation of removal. Stay of deportation is more like a pause. Cancellation of removal is a form of relief in which an individual can could get a visa to stay and be able to get legal permanent residency. So there's different forms that you would need to demonstrate, and we'll have a list of those. But basically, think of it as if you're applying for this stay with ICE, it's a discretionary matter, and you need to be able to demonstrate why you should be afforded that stay. So if you think about it, there's three ways that you could have this stay of removal. One is while your appeal is pending a decision by the Board of Immigration Appeals. Another is certain motions to reopen before the immigration court. And the other one that we'll focus mostly on is the request for stay of deportation before ICE. So while, let's say, an individual loses their court case before a judge, and then they reserve appeal, and while they're waiting to they've reserved the appeal those 30 days before filing the appeal, or while they're actually preparing the appeal, they would and while it's submitted and pending, waiting for the briefing schedule or what have you while it's pending, that is a stay of removal, and that basically will allow you to be able to be in the United States while it is pending. And generally, this is the procedure so that you're safe during that time. You do want to have thought about what your backup plan is if you don't win the appeal. You want to maybe consider prosecutorial discretion to maybe get the case dismissed or terminated. So you definitely don't want to wait till the last minute for you to get the decision by the BAA, the Board of Immigration Appeals. The other way that it could have a stay is when there's certain motions to reopen before the immigration judge. For example, a deportation order in absentia, or for relief as a battered parent, spouse, child. So while those are pending, that also acts as a stay. Now, the predominant thing I want to talk about was the stay of deportation before ICE. This is Form I-246. And this is what we've seen an uptick of having to file for. So if you were previously ordered deported and ICE is reinstating the deportation, or a judge order removal and immigration does not wish to, and you don't want to appeal, or if you're, if your file motion maybe you have this stay while you're waiting for a motion to reopen potentially. So when you request it with ICE, you can file this form I-246. And you would do this with the local office, the Removal Enforcement Operations Office. This is what the form looks like. You can find it online. And as you can see here, it says the decision maker, the adjudicator will say if it's granted, denied, rejected. There's different amounts of time, 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, other. They could say all the different reasons why it's denied and the reasons for requesting. So you can put the information here. You can also attach more evidence. Definitely want to attach more evidence. The filing fee is $155 right now. So what would you want to submit? I mean, you would want to submit as much proof, and there's usually good practice to have a passport, a copy of the passport, additional evidence of the discretion. So like that you have minimal or no crimes, that you have all this family in the United States, that there's a health concern. You want to paint the picture of why they should use their discretion available to grant you an approval of your stay. So it's really like a weighing contest. Or how much aggravating factors are there, and how many beneficial positive equities do you have, and do the positive outweigh the negative? And you want to be able to make it as clear as possible. When we prepared these, we have a statement, sort of like a mini letter brief. Then we also have a statement by the friends and family, and we have IDs, we have our medical records. I mean, when we put these together, we have to put them together so fast. Usually it's because it's an impending deportation order about to happen. So that's why I said you don't want to do these if you don't have to. Like this, you should be trying to prevent the chaos that ensues when you have to file one of these. And so you would file this at the local ERO office. So for like the Houston area, it's 126 North Point, and they're only open at certain times, certain days. There's a lot of like rules and being able to come submit and pay the filing fee. So ICE can deny if it's not signed, if the rate's incorrect, if the identity is not submitted, if you do not apply in person, if you submit it to the wrong office, if the address is wrong. Like there's just so many ways like they could reject it or deny it. If information's false or incomplete, because they didn't have an attorney on assigned for it. I mean, I don't know, I think there's lots of ways that they will try to find a way to reject it. So there's revoking, like, so potentially it was approved, but then they would decide to revoke it if there was an arrest, conviction, if there was a violation of an order of supervision, etc. So what happens after you get your decision? So if it's denied, then you're required to leave, and it'll just be a matter of time. So when we've seen this before, the individual was detained while they were waiting to make the decision for the stay. And when recently one was approved, then the individual was released to their family, another was denied, and then the deportation order was put into effect, and they were waiting for a plane to leave. If it is approved, then it'll say how long it is approved for. So if it's approved for a year, for example, you should make a plan during that time so that you're not waiting to the last minute again, because you were given a pass for one more year, a pause on your stay. And so you want to be prepared to either file an extension or maybe do something else, like apply for another form of relief potentially. So the form, if it is approved, they'll probably be issued an OSOP, the order of supervision, to comply and to continue to check in. But the form tips for completing it, I mean, you want to complete everything. You want to not, except for the part that says for internal use only, don't leave anything blank otherwise, and try to make it as compelling as possible. We prepare these, so you can hire us if you would like. But this is what we have we have experience in and help a lot of individuals with these types of cases. And you don't want to put it off to the last minute. So usually when this happens, if somebody's detained and they have a prior deportation order, like you need to call us like immediately, because really it's just a matter of time for someone to be deported. So try not to get to that point, but if you have to, like if you call us, let us say someone's detained with a prior deportation order and it's urgent, because then we'd have to talk with you right away. Don't wait a few days or a week to get a consult, because the individual that you're concerned about might not still be in the detention facility by that time. So this is more or less a stay of deportation. I hope you don't ever need to know about this, but it is important to know it exists. We do help individuals with this. We're going to present this in Spanish as well. And in August, we're going to be talking about a lot of other cool things, including work authorization and asylum clock. And the ECAS just came out. Well, that's mostly for attorneys, but we can now see all the reasons why the clock started or stopped. So that was a recent update. We can also going to talk about with your US citizen child turning 21 and what you might be eligible for. Also, a less known immigration alternatives, also asylum seekers, and asylum in general, and then immigration court options. So we'll go ahead and just stay tuned. We'll continue to monitor and give you more updates about all of that. You can reach out to us at 713-589-2085. And you can also email us at contact@rubypowerslaw.com. We're on all the social medias, and we have a newsletter that goes out every other week in Spanish, English, and Turkish. So if you have any questions, let us know, but hopefully this was helpful, and please feel free to reach out if you or someone else could